welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. And viewers, yes, we are coming to you live from Comfort Inn and Suites right here in Scarborough. And of course, we want to thank the management and staff for hosting us this morning. And getting straight on into our conversation, you know, it's Christmas weekend. Thankfully, we've got that Saturday and that Sunday before Christmas Day on Monday so that we can get our cleaning and stuff done. I know all of us have been working hard all week, so now that the job, we're at Friday. So it's the last working day of the week. We have Saturday and Sunday to clean. But will we have good weather to do that cleaning? So to tell us what all the details are, what we can expect, not just for the weekend, but for Christmas Day and so on, we are being joined by Miss Carolyn De Coteau, and of course she is a supervisor for the Meteorological Service Division in Tobago. So special good morning and welcome to you. And of course, Merry Christmas, season's greetings, and a Happy New Year.
Hi, Happy New Year to you and Merry Christmas as well. And it's Carolyn. I know it's Christmas and Carolyn, right? And Carolyn, but it's Carolyn De Coteau, right?
My apologies.
For this Christmas season, you're going to have mixed conditions more or less, right? For your cleaning this weekend, you might get some showers if you're looking to paint and power wash, and so you will get some showers over the weekend because we have a very unstable atmosphere at this time, and you're in a transition phase into the dry season. But this is the hardest time of the year to do a forecast in the tropics, right? Because you have these little upper level features that just pop up, like the one that happened in Charlottesville, right? And they just induce that rainfall over these little areas of white rain in Trinidad during that same time, and then it stopped. So we're going to have variably cloudy conditions, a few heavy showers in different areas, not all over. As you can see right now, it's partly cloudy, right? And we had a few light sprinkles this morning in some areas. So over the weekend, Christmas weekend, this weekend here, we're going to have some showers, and during up to probably about Boxing Day or so, we will continue to have instability over the area, right? So we can look out for that. And the next thing that we have going on right now is the hazardous seas alert.
Yes. But before we get into that, we just stick a little bit on the weather. So are you saying basically that we're going to be playing a little bit of a cat and mouse game with the rain? Yes. And what are the chances of something else happening that was like what happened in Charlottesville on Tuesday?
Well, anything is possible, but we'll see how it pans out because, as I said, during this time, a small area of divergence, just a little kink in the winds in the atmosphere at the upper levels could cause heavy rainfall and so on. So there is the possibility of that happening before the end of the year. And remember, right now, everybody talking about climate change, it is actually showing in these things because even though events may not be as often, they may be more intense, right? So you might have a long lull without any rainfall, and when it does happen, very intense, heavy rainfall and so on. Then you have a long period with hot sun and that kind of thing. So the frequency might be decreased, but when it does occur, it really happens like what washed away in Charlottesville, right?
And was there any indication at all? Did you guys get any hints that that was going to happen in Charlottesville on Tuesday?
We actually had the chance of some heavy showers in Charlottesville. Now, Tobago, to be fair, is not allowed to issue alerts. We have to wait and get the go-ahead for Trinidad to issue that. So we had it in our forecast for Tobago. However, it was more than we expected. What we can do is a nowcast, which is 3 to 6 hours when we see something getting more intense. And this is what we will be doing in the future because we should have issued a nowcast for that, but we would still need permission if we had to do an alert. So it wouldn't be an alert. So it would be something to, alert the public, alert TEMA, whoever, probably the news agencies and so on, that this area is going to have some intense rainfall. Even though it can't stop anything from happening, it would make people be prepared, right? So that is what we are looking at doing in the future. Right?
So essentially, until when over the weekend, Christmas Day, expect some rainy weather.
Rain and sun, right? Mixed conditions, I would call it, right?
Now, of course, we have some time off. So that's 4 days, a 4-day weekend for most working people. And we're going to want to, maybe take a trip to the beach and so on. But we may not be able to as much right now because of that hazardous sea warning that's in place at this point in time.
Right. So what we have is a very intense frontal system that is passing across the region, also inducing some of the instability over us. And that is going to cause the seas here to generate long period swells. So you actually seeing people surfing now in Mount Irving, right? And that is going to last until Sunday. And on Saturday, we'll start having the full moon, just before the full moon when you have those spring tides, right? So spring tides will be in effect along with these long period swells. So this weekend, beach is really a no-no. Because even though this alert is supposed to end on Sunday morning, after that, you're going to continue having higher than normal high tides and so on, and the seas will be still choppy. So even though we don't have an alert in effect, the seas are not safe during this Christmas season, right?
So I hope you are paying attention because we don't want to have any disaster happening at Christmas time. I mean, yes, you would love to go and enjoy the beach, but you know what? The seas would calm down. And when can we see calmer seas?
Probably next weekend, New Year's. And then remember, dry season now. We have the Azores High coming over our area, which is the dominant feature during the dry season. That is going to also cause seas to be rough. You know, from Christmas into Easter, rough seas. Yes. So people, however, whether there's an alert out or not, people have to be very careful during this dry season period. So, but next week, say around the 30th or the 31st, seas should abate a bit. So we'll have better conditions then.
So if you have plans to go to the beach for Christmas like I did, well, you might have to just take a rain check on those plans and leave it for New Year's weekend. It's also going to be a long weekend, so we might have some fun there. But of course, we're not done with Mr. Coteau yet because we just also want to get into, you know, what's the wind going to be like in terms of, you know, for those of you who might want to try to see how we're going to beat this rain, because if you're going to have your clothes out there to hang out to dry, your curtains and all of that, because we're going to have to get all of that done this weekend. Well,
it's not going to be very windy actually, right? It's not going to be very windy because we're not in that period. As I said, it's a transition period into the dry season. During the dry season, the dominant feature is the Azores High, which comes down and you have windy conditions, which will, of course, dry clothes faster and so on. Yes. So right now, because we're transitioning, you really don't have high winds, right? It's sort of a lull before the actual dry season, right? So use your dryer.
If you have a dryer, there are other things that you could probably do. You know, when the sun heats up that car quite a lot, you could probably put it on there. Clothes might dry really fast. But getting into the weather for dry season and so on, I know the Met Office did put out some information about what we can expect. And initially they're saying that we can expect a hotter year.
Hotter than normal. Mainly because we are in an El Nino now until around April, because these things have a variability time that they last, right? So El Nino will be the dominant of the two. We have El Nino, La Nina, and southern oscillation. So because of El Nino, we have drier conditions, and we have El Nino in the face of climate change. So therefore, it is like a double whammy basically. So that is why we are expecting hotter than normal. This year was one of the hottest years on record, yes. Right? And next year we expect it to be hotter because of that El Nino and climate change. So that means that, as I said, you will have more intense weather events, even though they may not be as frequent. So don't be surprised if you have, like a few years ago, we had some very heavy rains during yes. April and so on, right? And I remember it was a school event at Bishop's and rain was blowing inside and people asking why all this rain falling during the dry season, right? It was very intense. So, and now climate change is becoming even more prevalent and noticeable. You're seeing the effects, right, on the weather. People saying they have no dry season, no rainy season again because everything just mixed up. Right, so next year we can expect that. Later on, we'll probably have after the El Nino phase, we'll probably have a neutral phase and then probably go into our next La Nina. It depends, right? It varies according to the sea temperature and so on.
And in terms of the rainfall, what can we expect as well?
Well, we haven't reached that far yet because it depends on if it's El Nino or La Nina, right? And as I said, climate change is playing a big factor in determining how the weather pattern is changing, right? WMO has been looking at this and we trying, I mean, everybody talking about reducing emissions and so on, but the effect is already there, right? So we'll see. Next year we'll do another interview about that, man.
Certainly, we could get a bit more, and especially because, coming out of just some of these statements made at the UN level and things like that, of us as a planet, increasing our average temperature by 1.5 degrees Celsius, which doesn't seem like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it is. It is.
Level rise, islands like Tobago will start losing the coastline and that kind of thing. Yeah, we actually seen it happening, right? So
We've got, I know it's a little bit of a damper right now, but those are just some of the things that we need to pay attention to. But it also causes the question, what are we doing within our little spaces to make sure that when these weather events happen, the negative impact is less. And it just means be careful how you're building, be careful where your drains are, all of those things, how you plant. Do not cut down all the trees on the hills, because guess what? Those trees actually hold the hills together, So just little things like that. All right, so as we're getting ready to wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to leave with our viewers in terms of the weather?
Basically, enjoy the rain, enjoy the sun, the Christmas, and just know that if there's any unusual event, we'll try to keep you all posted. So keep alert on our website and the TTMS website and so on. I'll be on Twitter and Facebook and so. So was for weather in Trinidad and Tobago. So don't go looking at all the website and the forecasters, online forecasters, TTMS, right? But enjoy Christmas, be safe, and remember that the beaches are not safe this weekend.
All right, I want to thank you so much, Miss Carolyn De Coteau, as we get an update about what to expect for the weather. So unfortunately, we're going to be playing a little bit of cat and mouse with the rain, but it's okay. It means on Christmas Day, if you're like me, you have the nice rainfall and you can sit down on the couch with your Christmas pajamas and be watching some movies, drinking something nice and hot. But in the meantime, we are going to be treated by some awesome violinist music from Miss Stephanie Joseph, who is getting ready to perform. So we're going to go straight into that right about now.